live in Western Oregon. This is NBC 16 News at 11.
We start our newscast off tonight with the extraordinary second chance for a Tennessee woman who was serving life in prison. Good evening and thanks for joining us on NBC 16 News at 11. I am Alexis Thrower. Her name is Centoya Brown, released today to start her life again. NBC's Ron Allen has the details.
Tonight, Centoya Brown is enjoying her first day of freedom in 15 years, revealing she's written a memoir and got married in prison. Her new name, Centoya Brown Long. With word of her release at 3:20 a.m., an attorney texting, she is free. Hallelujah.
She's the most amazing transformation of a human being.
Guilty. She's now 31, sentenced to life for murder at age 16. Prosecutors say she shot a man she was trying to rob, but her attorneys argued she'd been forced into prostitution and killed in self-defense. The case inspired a documentary and ignited national outrage. Hashtag Free Centoya Brown. A-list celebrities leading the call for justice. Calling a life sentence for the teenager too harsh, former Tennessee Governor Bill Haslam commuted it.
She really had, done what we hoped and changed her life. One of the first things Centoya said when we walked in to see her in prison was, "I won't let you down."
She earned a high school diploma and 2 college degrees while mentoring young offenders.
I've seen our students be released. I've seen them work in juvenile justice settings using their narrative and their education to help other people.
A man is in Eugene police custody tonight after stabbing an employee at a laundromat. EPD says it can't disclose the suspect's identity at this time. The employee, who was working at West 11th Coin Laundry Cleaner, described his assailant to police as a transient. The suspect is charged with assault in the second degree and unlawful use of a weapon. Police say the victim of the stabbing sustained only minor injuries. Today, a Mexican official blamed the theft of gold coins worth $2.5 million from the open vault of a government currency store on a security breakdown and said employees were being questioned. 2 clean-cut, young-looking men in neat office attire and another man in a black baseball cap and heavy jacket made off with more than 1,500 gold coins in the daytime caper yesterday, according to security camera images. Security camera footage taken from the office tower where the government runs a mint branch revealed glimpses of the 3 suspects. One wore a gray sweater with the collar of a dress shirt peeking out, while another in a white sweater carried a black backpack and stared directly into the camera. One of the robbers filled a backpack with gold coins from the open vault, according to the earlier police reports. The coins, known as centenarios, are worth more than $1,500 apiece, according to Mexican bank Banorte. The coin was first minted in 1921 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Mexico's independence from Spain, according to the central bank. Production was suspended in 1931, but the coin was reminted beginning in 1943 due to demand for gold coins. One side bears Mexico's coat of arms with an eagle perched atop a cactus, and the other features the capital's iconic Angel of Independence monument backed by 2 volcanoes. The coins have a gold fineness of 90% purity. On to a first look at weather. NBC 16's meteorologist Josh Kozart joins us now in the Weather Center. I definitely took a step outside and it is cold.
It is, compared to where we were just even this time last week, into the low 90s or upper 80s, but today's high only managed to make it up to 72 degrees in the Eugene-Springfield area. Now the clouds are starting to dip a little bit closer to the ground. That's why our view over Springfield this evening is kind of on the hazier end of things as our camera looks through some of those lower level clouds. But our radar and satellite does show that cloudy conditions continue through the valleys and out towards the coastal areas, a trend that will continue for the overnight hours. But for our Friday, the fire threat does continue as a fire weather watch in this beige color continues. That's just for the threat and the possibility that a few thunderstorms could spark some wildfires. But for our severe weather outlook tomorrow, yes, most of our area is in the chance to see some general thunderstorms, more stronger to severe thunderstorms possibility over the Cascades. I'll have more details on that in just a few minutes.
Thank you so much. And Puerto Rico's new governor was sworn in today, the third in just 6 days. Justice Secretary Wanda Vasquez took the oath of office, culminating weeks of political turmoil. She was sworn in at the Puerto Rican Supreme Court, which earlier in the day ruled that the previous governor swearing in last Friday was unconstitutional. Today's developments settled the dispute over who will lead the U.S. territory following protests that forced the resignation of Governor Ricardo Rosselló. Rosselló's chosen successor, Pedro Pierluisi, had been confirmed by Puerto Rico's House, but not the Senate. The Senate went to court and won a unanimous ruling that invalidated his filling the office. Before stepping down, Pierluisi released a video statement. He said he would abide by the Supreme Court decision and support Vasquez. House Democrats filed suit to force former White House counsel Don McGahn to testify. The committee argues it needs to hear from him to determine whether it should consider articles of impeachment against President Trump. The committee calls McGahn the most important witness in its investigation into possible obstruction of justice by Trump. The lawsuit outlines exactly how the Judiciary Committee might use McGahn's testimony in an impeachment proceeding. The committee subpoenaed McGahn in April, but the White House blocked it, claiming McGahn had absolute immunity. You may have noticed a group of bicyclists weaving around the streets of Eugene today. It was part of a mural tour Peace Health Rides put on this evening in association with Eugene's Visual Arts Week. Bicyclists traveled around downtown for an hour, checking out the various murals painted on the city's buildings. One of the cyclists said he was glad the city created the opportunity with Peace Health to appreciate and understand those murals.
It just gives us the community a sense of beauty. I think that should be one of the primary functions of government, is to make life beautiful and pleasant and happy for its citizens.
Eugene's Visual Arts Week continues through Friday with events around the city. You can check out a full list of the events on the city's website. Coming up next on NBC 16 News at 11, amid the nationwide mass shootings, a Thurston shooting survivor expresses how the recent traumas have affected her life. And later in the show, ODF has provided us with an update on the progress on containing the Milepost 97 fire.
This is how News at 11.
A woman who survived the Thurston High School shooting in 1998 speaks out about how 2 decades of mass shootings in America have affected her life. Aubrey Bulkley was a freshman at Thurston High School in May of '98. She was in the courtyard when a student opened fire in the school cafeteria. 2 students died and 25 others were injured. Bulkley is still processing what happened 21 years ago, but says the prevalence of these shootings makes it harder.
Just those emotions and those feelings get brought up again, and your heart breaks because you know exactly how those people feel.
Visit our website at NBC16.com as Bulkley tells us how she hopes to use her experience to spark change. A Eugene church joins hundreds around the country for prayer vigils today. They say the fight isn't over for children at the southern U.S. border. Pastor Dan Shelwitz with Our Redeemer Lutheran Church in Eugene says around 400 churches in the U.S. took part. Supporters say they are concerned about the ability for migrant families to seek asylum. They also explain they want families to stay together when crossing the border and that there needs to be reform within ICE.
We believe that thoughts and prayers are where you begin and move forward for action, because you need to have a measured action. You don't want to just react emotionally, but you want to think about what's going on here and how can we best respond to the action.
He says the supporters have been working with their local congressional delegation. They hope the next steps for change is through lawmakers. A gun rights group is traveling to Coos Bay for an anti-gun regulation rally. NBC 16's Lauren Negretti reports.
The group Patriot Prayer will join local gun rights advocates at a Second Amendment rights rally at the Coos Bay Boardwalk this weekend. The rally is Saturday at 3 p.m. Their message against gun regulations comes on the heels of shootings in Ohio and Texas.
The deterrent that we have from the rifle is so powerful, but we take it for granted. And so we don't think about that. So when you see loss of life, 20 people in one night, it's a horrible thing. but it's psychological.
He says statistically, a rifle is one of the safest guns to own, and that taking guns away heightens a homeland security type risk. Gibson was invited by Rob Taylor, a chief petitioner of the Second Amendment Sanctuary Ordinance,
which would give a directive to the county not to enforce any firearm regulations that are coming out of the state and out of the federal government. We believe that our right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed.
His group expects to collect the rest of the 5,000 signatures needed and will turn it in after the primary in May to put it on the general election ballot. Both expect a peaceful rally. The Coos Bay Police Department says they've been in contact with Patriot Prayer, are monitoring social media websites about the rally, and are coordinating with other law enforcement to have a police presence at the boardwalk and at the North Bend Community Center. Reporting in Coos County, I'm Lauren Negretti.
Community leaders and residents speak out against hate today in a rally in Springfield. They took aim at white nationalist ideology, which they say is directly to blame for the mass shootings from this weekend. NBC 16's Tom Adams has highlights from the spirited event.
Are you ready to fight? No, are you ready to fight this?
It was a call to action outside Springfield City Hall Wednesday. 8 people taking turns at the microphone for the Standing Against White Nationalism event.
How is it possible that we are here in 2019 condemning Nazism and white supremacy and white separatism? What the hell is going on?
Speaker after speaker condemned the climate of fear and white nationalism ideology.
People of color are not safe, and I don't want our community to live in fear any longer.
It is not a mental illness. We're not going to put that stigma on people with mental illnesses. This is a hateful and dangerous ideology that has to be addressed.
We demand action! We demand action!
Rally organizers say mourning for the victims is not enough. That ideology based on white nationalism has to be confronted forcefully.
And that's a very dangerous mentality which needs to be named. We think we need to call it out. We want leaders also to call it out.
Speaking for herself and not the entire City Council, City Councilor Sherry Moore compares the current climate of hate to Nazi Germany and the rise of Hitler.
People stood by too long and happened too late. We have to stand up against hate, violence, and racism.
Then from another speaker came a message maybe all can agree on: mutual respect.
It's only when we see each one of us as a person of value to our entire community that we can truly be equal in each other's eyes.
Reporting in Springfield, I'm Tom Adams.
Turning to weather now, NBC 16's meteorologist Josh Cozart is standing by for a look at what's coming up in your full forecast. Hey, Josh.
Hey, Alexis. It felt a little bit more like October than the beginning part of August, and thankfully those cooler conditions will stick around for the next couple of days with the increased chance of rain. Those details next.
It's on. Get to the Ross Shoe event for even more brands at
Cozart.
Well, it was a mild day all across western Oregon, and we saw the return of some cloud coverage, which you can see over Eugene from earlier today. And watch kind of throughout this little time lapse from this afternoon, those clouds really start to lower. Our camera itself is on top of one of the hills, and the clouds, they lower pretty quickly, leaving kind of a hazy view behind us of Eugene tonight. But the cooler temperatures, they're going to stick around for the next couple of days. We also have the chance for some weekend rain showers. Might put a little bit of a damper on any of your outdoor plans, but we still desperately need to see those rain showers in our area. And just as quickly as this cooler weather moved in, yes, you guessed it, the hot summer temperatures are quickly to return. But our satellite and radar shows calm, quiet conditions over western Oregon at this point in time, just mostly cloudy skies for the rest of our evening. But we need that rain because dry conditions in the yellow continue, and then even into the moderate range in this brown color as well. So we really just need to see those rain showers to kind of peel those off of our map. Mostly cloudy skies throughout western Oregon today. Temperatures are going to be on the mild side in towards the mid to upper 50s for overnight lows. But as we take a look at our future cast, you'll notice that the clouds continue to hug western Oregon through your Thursday morning and then we're going to continue to see them stick around through a good portion of our Thursday as well. Maybe a few isolated rain showers here and there along the coastal areas for your morning morning commute tomorrow, but they really start to clear out. But then into our Friday morning, the clouds return with an approach of a low pressure system, and you'll notice over the Cascades, there's some of those thunderstorms that could start to crop up over our area, some of which might be dropping quite a bit of rainfall through the overnight hours and into our Saturday morning. But the reason for this weather pattern change is all due to this low pressure system tracking its way to the east. Counterclockwise rotations already starting to bring some cooler air into our area, and that will be a trend that continues for the next 24 to 48 hours. And once that low pressure system gets along the coast, that's when the showers really start to make their way back into our area. But boy, tomorrow it's going to be nice out there. Mostly cloudy skies over a good portion of us, but the Umpqua Valley through the Willamette Valley, temperatures are going to be into the 70s for us. Coastal areas still above average into the upper 60s. But for our extended outlook for the Eugene-Springfield area, 30% chance for those rain showers Friday evening, 50% chance to see those showers on our Saturday, and then temperatures for the new work week will gradually start to warm back up. The sunshine will return, and it'll feel a little bit more like August for us. But out towards the coast, we should be sitting right around 65 degrees for this time of year. Not going to be the case as we hold on to the upper 60s to low 70s to all the way up into the mid 70s by the time we get into our new work week. And out towards the Umpqua Valley, 20% chance for some showers on our Friday, 50% chance for our Saturday, and then the sunshine and the 90s. Summer sizzle returns just in time to start our new work week. I'll toss things back over to Alexis.
Thank you so much, Josh. The Milepost 97 fire near Canyonville is 85% contained as of last check at 9:45 this evening. That's according to the Oregon Department of Forestry. Firefighters have worked day and night to get the fire down. The Forestry Department says there were 25 injuries among the crew members. No homes or structures have been damaged, but forestry officials say the total cost of the damage to the land is more than $20 million.
This fire has been one of the best managed fires I personally have worked on. Getting here, it was not looking good, but weather cooperated. After a couple days, we were able to kind of stop this fire and have it fall on its face.
More than 13,000 acres have burned so far. Touchstone says you can help keep the great outdoors fire-free this season by making sure all campfires are completely out after use. Two fires in the past few weeks seem to have something in common. Both fires broke out in locations where homeless camps were located. NBC 16's Alex Thrower spoke with both fire officials and homeless services to find out why people light these fires and how risky they can be.
Around 2 weeks ago, a fire broke out near Roosevelt Boulevard, a place recently occupied by campers. Then just a few days ago, fire crews responded to a brush fire near Beltline.
So this morning, though, this looks like a homeless camp that was underneath the Beltline overpass.
Tabitha Eck with the Eugene Mission says in the unhoused community, fire can be seen as a survival tool.
They don't have access necessarily to electricity, to heaters, to warmth.
Eck says while living unhoused, people can experience a phenomenon she calls survival mode, in which long-term thinking goes on the back burner.
You use whatever there is to get through those next 12 to 24 hours, so you're not thinking about long-term impact even on your personal space, much less environmental impact.
Eugene Springfield Fire Marshal Amy Linder says homeless camp fires would be categorized as human-caused in the agency's database.
Fire is dangerous in all situations unless it's a good fire that is being used in a proper fashion.
Eck says this is often the most dangerous part about makeshift cooking and heating mechanisms.
Oftentimes those things that you're finding or sourcing weren't designed for those purposes.
Aside from fires used to cook food,
there's no recreational burning in the city limits of Eugene.
Both Eck and Linder acknowledge that fire can be a useful source of light and heat for the homeless community, but they ask that people seek out local services rather than lighting a flame. I'm Alex Thrower reporting.
And next in sports, fall camp continues for the Oregon football team. The Duck star running back shares how he feels going into the 2019 season.
Wait, you started your second bacon, egg, and cheese?
Steam Sports Desk is brought to you by Three Rivers Casino Resort.
Practice number 5 for the Ducks on Wednesday saw Oregon in full pads for the first time this season, which meant the team got to run the classic Oklahoma drill. You remember that drill from high school, lining up just yards away from someone and at the sound of the whistle, going full speed for contact. Someone who is used to taking full contact is running back C.J. Verdell. After he eclipsed the 1,000-yard rushing mark as a freshman in 2018, Verdell enters fall camp as the main rushing threat with fellow sophomore Travis Dye right behind him. Verdell says he added 6 pounds of muscle in the offseason. He also says new guys like Sean Dollars and Javon Wilson are great additions to the running group.
We got a lot of talent in the room, so Coach Mastro does a very good job of getting us all in there, seeing what we can do, and splitting up our reps evenly. As far as just being more comfortable out there on the field, just knowing what I'm doing, as far as when the play is called, and not thinking too much on the field, just mainly reacting. Coach Mastro definitely put a big emphasis on pass blocking as a running back. He always says 2 things you got to do to run the ball at this level and on this team. You got to be able to protect the ball and protect the quarterback at all times. So that's definitely what he emphasizes a lot.
Verdell says year 2 in Eugene, having him much more comfortable in the system, not having to think as much on the field, but rather react. The reaction after the Oregon spring game in April was that the Ducks have several youngsters ready to make an impact right away. With wide receiver Brendan Schooler out for several weeks, Micah Pittman could be one to step into the spotlight. Pittman says being around Mario Cristobal's high intensity has rubbed off onto the freshman.
He likes my intensity that I bring every day, and I'm just consistent with it. And so the competition he brings to the receiver group, not even to the receiver group, to the DB group, to the lineman group, I mean, everyone's competing for a job. And at the end of the day, it's personal for me. Like, I want to take care of my family at the end of the day. So I'm always at a high go and stuff like that. So he kind of reminds me of how much I want it, and he reminds me how bad I want to succeed and be great for this team and for myself also.
Pittman led the Ducks in spring game receptions with 7. When it comes to leadership, senior leadership at Oregon State, linebacker Andre Hughes-Murray will certainly be one to carry the torch for the team. Hughes-Murray says the comparison between this fall camp and last year's is night and day, with much more cohesion amongst the team. He also says the linebackers group progressing day by day.
I feel like guys are making huge strides. I think we're definitely getting better every day. We're really working on our techniques. The inside backers are really working with Coach Ray. Us with Coach Tibbs, and our second year in the system is really helping us out. A lot of stuff feels like review, and like I said before, we're only going up from here.
Hughes-Murray says Jonathan Smith's goal is to have OSU become the most unified team in the country. From football to football, the Timbers in the semifinals of the U.S. Open Cup on the road against Minnesota United. Timbers down 1-0 just before halftime. The pass from Jeremy Abobase to Brian Fernandez. He gets on the end of it. The new addition continuing to star for Portland, but there would be no more goals for the Timbers. Minnesota United responds in the second half. Back-to-back losses against Minnesota United in the span of 4 days. And that's all the time we have for this sports report. So now let's send it back to the desk.
Thank you so much, Hayden. And coming up next on NBC 16 News at 11, if you were a fan of the show Friends, then stay tuned so we can build on that interest.
NBC 16 and Lithia Toyota.
Love with Ross, Rachel, Monica, Chandler, Joey, and Phoebe for 25 years, and now Friends is getting a revival. Check out Lego's ode to the cast of the show that celebrates its anniversary in September. The toy maker teased what appeals to be a Friends-inspired block set on its Twitter account. Although there is little, well, really no information to go on, the internet is abuzz. Friends debuted in September of 1994, so we may know a little bit more before its 25th anniversary.
Well, maybe it's going to be a video game? I always enjoy playing the Lego video games.
The Lego movies have been cute, too.
They have.
So, we'll see.
What's to come?
Thanks for watching NBC 16 News at 11. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon is next.
Make a Dunkin' run for a $2 pick-me-up and avoid the afternoon drag.